Welcome to the Danbury Dems. This is John Gogliettino. I'm your host. We're going to be speaking to Roberto Alves, the mayor of Danbury, and he's going to give a report on recent council activity and all the things associated with that. So without further ado, let's have him come on, and he can give a brief report on what recently happened.
Hey, John, how are you?
And I know there's new people in the area. You might want to say when you got elected and that kind of thing. It might be 5,000 people. I don't know. We've had quite a few people come into the area.
Get the 5,000 people. Well, hi everybody. Mayor Roberto Alves here. My good friend John Gogliettino. John, thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome.
I've been mayor in Danbury for about a year and a half now. We got elected in November of 23, started in December of 23, and we just hit the ground running. A lot to do, a lot to talk about. And our whole goal is just to keep moving forward, keep the progress happening, keep investing your money responsibly and addressing the challenges you see every day. So, John, thank you for having me on.
Okay, you're welcome. First of all, I understand. Well, I was there for part of the time. Last night, the city council met and they voted on the budget and a report on how we did and what the rate is and whatever you like to talk about that meeting.
Thanks. That's one of the longest processes of the year is the city's annual budget. You know, we have a city that operates on about $330 million before this new budget that went up about 5.5%, 6% in expenditures. But our tax increases are only going to go up by 2.28%. We're able to stay under the rate of inflation. And John, something you're very well aware of, our neighboring towns are going up. The lowest amount I think I've seen was maybe double of ours, but some have gone up just under triple what we have. So Danbury made out well. Our responsible management here of our money has paid dividends to our taxpayers. So we're only going up 2.28%, well under the rate of inflation. And it's a long process. We presented our budget. The council debated our budget. They broke it down by sections, grilled department heads on their needs. But I'm happy to report back that the budget passed with overwhelming the majority support. In fact, it was bipartisan. 25% of the Republicans voted for the budget. That's just one of them. There's only four, but we got bipartisan. We got bipartisan support on our budget. This is my second budget as mayor, and both of them have had that bipartisan support because at the end of the day, when you take politics out of it, and three gentlemen couldn't, this is a very responsible budget that keeps our city moving forward.
It's good. Now, as I've done in the past, we sort of go through the different line items and what have you. You've done a great deal of work in the past on the roads, and you've already got a plan for the future expenditures on the roads, which are greatly improved from where they were when you took over. You know, they hadn't worked on it for a while, you know, so go ahead and talk about the roads and your plan.
Thank you. Yeah, we again talk about hit the ground running. We hit the ground running with infrastructure in our first year And now with this budget, what we have done is really maxing out our teams. I asked them what's the most amount that they can do in a year, and there was 12 to 15 miles is what they told me. And I said, great, give us a plan for 15 miles to make that sustainable for the next 3 to 4 years. We found out, if you give me the plan, we'll find the ways to pay for it. And we found the ways to pay for it. So this year we're paving 15 miles of road, the most Danbury's ever done in a straight paving program. And we're doing it next year, the year after. And we plan to keep that pace up until we are finally caught up on our crumbling infrastructure. So we're really excited. And those are those front door issues, right? You walk out of your front door and what do you see? How can we help you? That was one of them that we heard over and over from our residents, from our neighbors, from our constituents, and we wanted to make an aggressive plan to tackle it. We did. The council supported it, and now the whole community gets to reap those rewards.
Yeah, I tell you, I was one of the people that hit something in the old roads about a year and a half ago or whatever, and lost a tire. So there are many of us that the roads have gotten that bad under the previous people that we needed to do what you're doing, and very much appreciated. Report on the police department.
Yeah, so that's great. I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to talk about the police. Excited with what's happening there as well. We know that leading into this, there was always that perception or feeling that crime is going up in Danbury and there was no enforcement. So now when you look at the numbers, I'll be honest, crime is up a little bit, but that's because enforcement is up. We've been, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but we've been vigilant. We've been, again, responsible. Last year, I added 5 police officers to our table of organization. That means the city is allowed to hire 5 more police officers than it previously was allowed to carry. This year, I did the same. So now I upped it in 2 years by 10 police officers. I have a goal that I want to meet, and I'm going to do it gradually to be responsible to our taxpayers. You'll see that again next year. And with that came the ability to see more police officers on the road. I haven't been able to drive across town without running into multiple police officers. That's what we want. So enforcement has gone up with that. Infractions have gone up. Arrests have gone up because we have the police officers doing the work. John, I came on your show multiple times before being mayor.
Yeah.
I'd always say that we had more police officers in the early 90s on the road when I was a kid and Gene Iroquois was mayor than we do now. But yet we have thousands and thousands of more residents and a lot more challenges. So we're glad we got to do that. One of the things that we kept hearing over and over were, folks talking about speeding on their roads, traffic enforcement. Well, our first year in office, traffic enforcement went up by 50%. 50%. This year, it's already gone up over that, on top of what it's gone up. So we heard you, we're listening to you, and we're addressing that. I'll tell you, just this past month, I have some data in front of me. There was 1,371 stops. 1,108 tickets, 233 warnings, and 33 arrests around our traffic enforcement. We're going to keep doing that. We want our roads to be safe. One death on a road is too many. We had one recently with somebody leaving work to go to another job crossing the busy street. So, just know we're going to be vigilant on that. Know that we don't want you driving on your cell phone. We want to keep your family and your loved ones protected and safe. This is why we're doing that. It's about safety. It's about civility. And it's about just making sure your tax dollars are being invested where you want.
Yeah, you just want on top of it. You just want people to slow down. Unbelievable. If it's 25 miles an hour, they shouldn't be doing 40 miles an hour. And if you have more police on the road, people are going to slow down because they're afraid they're going to have something stop them.
I agree.
And report on the fire department. I know the bond issue was part of that. So if you can talk about both of the.
What we did when we went out to find ways to pay for this infrastructure, we looped it into public safety because we know our infrastructure is a direct correlation with public safety. You want your ambulances, fire trucks, and police officers to be able to get to your emergency fast. But part of that was building out a new firehouse on the west side. At this council meeting, former firefighter and current councilman and former fire marshal Barry Ricker talked about it. They first started talking about a new firehouse on the west side of Danbury in 1983. It's a special year to me because that's the year I was born. I'm turned 42 this year. So 42 years ago, the city started talking about the need for this firehouse on the west side. Well, in the meantime, that area has blown up. It's, no pun intended there, but it's just population on overdrive, thousands of folks, city within a city. And what
Yeah.
we are doing is going to build a West Side firehouse that can get to that community and others in the area so much faster. It's going to save 8 to 10 minutes off of response time. And why is that important? You call 911 because you have an emergency. You can be declared clinically brain dead in 4 minutes, and we're cutting 8 to 10 minutes off of that response time. So again, it's responsible use of our taxpayer dollars, adding police officers, adding a fire department. And we're excited about that because we want to provide these services to you, make sure that your loved ones are safe. And there's so much more going on with the fire department as well. We've done a tremendous amount of work there with them, not just a firehouse. We've opened up our testing, our list for people to apply. Now it's closed, but this is about 2 months ago. And John, we have such a good fire department here, such a great city that people want to work in, that we opened up the period for you to apply to be a Danbury firefighter for about a month. In that month, we had close to 1,000 applications. We don't have that many openings, but that's some people are interested in being a firefighter in Danbury. It's a great community. It's a great place to live. It's an amazing place to work, and we're really excited about the prospects there.
Very good. Report on the high school on the west side here. Some say, well, you never know. It may not open on time. As far as you're concerned, it's going to open on time.
We're going to open on time. I'd like to know who
Yeah.
the some are. It's not anybody who has some understanding of where the project is. We are opening on time.
Okay. And are you going to have like an open house for the public maybe a week or two before it actually opens?
Well, that's tough because it's a school, and we are going to be working right up until the teachers are moving in. So there will be, it'll be a little hectic time for a couple people. Some work will be done as teachers are moving in, and then school goes right in there. So obviously, it's hard to get a public in there when you have our school children attending, but we're excited about it. We'll put up videos and pictures, and then maybe you can do something during a break
on a weekend or something, so
Yeah.
they can see what they're.
But right now the plan is just to not focus on open houses, but focus on making sure everything is done so when it opens safe for those students.
Okay, and I put a slash through this, but there might be in the legislature, there may be some additional funding coming. But you don't know at this point in time what's coming.
Yeah, it's too early to tell. Last year we were incredibly successful in Hartford. I was up there lobbying for our city, like I have been this year lobbying for our city. We were able to bring back $12 million in additional funds, but that's not all. What I can report that looks hasn't been signed off, but it was presented in the governor's budget, and the House and the Senate aren't going to pull back on that. There is more school funding already, right? We went from there's going to be $9 million already in extra money in through ECS, the education cost sharing for the city of Danbury. That's huge. This is under Governor Ned Lamont and working with so many folks to track ECS, education cost sharing. We were supposed to get an extra about $5 million this year. And then lo and behold, the governor does his budget. Danbury shot up to $9 million. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens with intense lobbying from so many people to get that done. Happy to be a part of that. So we know we're already getting that much, and that is a serious amount of money. I'm up there trying to get more. We want a fair share. We do so much to promote our community and make sure we are lockstep with the administration, the governor's administration, on things like transportation-oriented development, making sure we have housing to sustain our workforce, and keeping our streets safe, making it attractive to open up a business here and retire, doing everything that holds our Connecticut values and our governor's administration's priorities. That they know. So sometimes the municipality need a little bit of help delivering that, or when you do that, there's other strains on your services. So we do need municipal aid, and we want to make sure we can grow our city and provide these services, but there's a cost to that, and we don't want to break the backs of our taxpayers as we're doing that. So I go up there to lobby for this municipal aid again, and incredibly successful last year, but it was one-time funds. This year, we're up there chasing not just funds, but we want them annualized, so we don't have to go back every year for that. There's other things that we might want to lobby for that may be just bill changes or laws that don't necessarily have an impact on the state's annual budget, but will have a tremendous impact on how we govern. But we are busy, keeping an eye on that. I'm constantly looking at bills to see what's good for Danbury or bad for Danbury. And, I call this morning I had a call with a couple of bills that we want to keep our eye on with, city lobbyists, or talk to our legislature, our legislative delegation, so they're on top of that. But we're constantly working to keep our eye on things.
That's good. And then, of course, we got a unified legislative delegation that helps you with that. You're doing the lobbying, which is a big plus. But then you also have those guys that are there full time working as a team.
How lucky are we? We have a great team. We have, State Senator Julie Kushner, and when we say this, we don't say it lightly, the very best state senator in all of Connecticut, who is there fighting for Danbury. And then in the House, we have Bob Godfrey, we have Rahab Brennan, we have Farley Santos, who's been a force in his second term there in delivering for Danbury, and we have Ken Gucker back as well. So we have a strong unified group that works together. Rahab Brennan as well in the second. He covers a good chunk of Danbury. I know primarily he's Bethel, but I would say 40%, if not more, of his district is Danbury, Connecticut. Right. And then the R's still have Pat Callahan with that little sliver of Danbury. Pat Callahan's a good guy. I have nothing against him personally. We have some difference of opinions and some legislation. But, here we are, and we work together to deliver for Danbury. But I know I can count on our Democratic team, Julie, Farley, Rahab, Ken, and Farley, and Bob, and we get it all done.
That's good. Now, with all of there's a lot of concern with what's going on down in Washington, but the thing that concerns me the most is that we don't get cut too much by all of this nonsense that's going on there. Along with everything else, and it gets you nervous sometimes. Even open up the TV to have them there. But have we been affected in one way or another? Has some of this nonsense turned into official notice? Yeah,
absolutely. We've been impacted, and the biggest impact right now is the unknown. It's how do you run a business? How do you run an organization? How do you run a municipality or a state government, not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow? And there's so many real things on a state level, on the local level. So here for us, it's been our Health and Human Services Department. Our immunization clinic has been significantly impacted by the recent stop work. But we've also had to cut 5 nurses and 2 staff members that we've had to either cut or adjust positions on. And John, these aren't people who are just doing vaccine clinics back because of COVID. We do a lot more than that. And they do contact tracing. Again, it's not just contact tracing because of COVID. It's contact tracing for a neurovirus. You eat at a restaurant, somebody gets sick. We get a lot of reports, or maybe it's staph infections at barber shops. There's so many things they do that they're critical for, but they were funded by the federal government. And now we're going to lose that. So in turn, those cuts from the federal government have made makes your community less safe, have made ours less safe, or more expensive, because now we have to find other ways to plug that in. So your property taxes now are going to have to go up to pay for that when we were doing it fine before, but it's being cut from the federal government. We have no control, and here we are. And I know we run out of time soon on the show. I can spend the next 20 minutes going line by line talking about other areas where it's going to impact with the proposed cuts that came out on May 2nd. And I have a list here with me, so my eyes will go off the camera in a second.
Well, we have about 9 minutes if you want to take.
Yeah, no, John, I'm telling you, there's more cuts than there's time, and that's how bad it is, right? But if I go to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is a main one, Let me see if I can do this here so my eyes don't go off the camera as much. We have, and I'll just pick a couple that are going to impact us completely. They want to eliminate the Community Development Block Grant. That's CDBG money. The city of Danbury gets anywhere between $500,000 and $600,000 in CDBG money, Community Development Block Grant. What do? Almost all of that money goes back into our nonprofits that do critical work in Danbury. Danbury Youth Services, the Women's Center for women who are suffering of domestic abuse, United Way, I think Ann's Place. I think about our best nonprofits and all the great work they do. Almost all of them, Ability, Action, Community Action. All these folks get those funds from us to deliver critical programs. They want to cut that completely. They want to eliminate the rental assistance program by 40%. By 40%. So now you're going to stop helping people pay for their housing. They want to impose caps on those. They want to cut homeless programs by $532 million. Our homeless shelters are funded by a majority from federal money. What do we do then as a community? Because this is all adding up to over $1 million already in Danbury. That's just one department. There's departments to there's cuts proposed to the Department of Justice. There's cuts proposed to the Department of Homeland Security, Shelters and Service Grant Program. They want to reduce funds for FEMA. Remember those storms that we were able to? When I happened to be in Chicago with the Congresswoman and the president and the senators, and we were able to move faster than anybody's ever moved to get sign off of emergency declaration to get money back into these communities that are impacted. They want to cut that money. They want to cut DOT money. They want to cut, and I'm talking about billions of dollars here. I'm looking at $9 billion in DOT cuts. We talked about the health department, but there's other money that we use there. Community Service Block Grant that is different than CDBG, $770 million that wants to be cut there. Department of Commerce cuts, Department of Labor cuts. Scary one. Department of Education cuts that they want to go and cut. There's so much that they want to do and cut that's really going to really hurt us. Title I money, we don't know where that's going to go. There are so many things, and John, I just stopped reading because there's so many other things that they are doing.
This is when July 1st. Anything?
Well, these are proposed. They're still going to go to the House. They're still going to go to Congress. But that can't, we don't know what's going to happen. And then that comes back to what I just said. It's that, how do you plan for the things that are unknown? Back to the schools, we get so much Title I money and they want to cut that by 25%. We have to fund those things. They want to reduce the overall Department of Education funding by 15%. That's going to impact us. There's Department of Energy cuts, EPA cuts, right? The environment. Department of Agriculture cuts. So they want to cut funding to Meals on Wheels that serve elderly communities who can't afford meals. They want to fundamentally change SNAP, right? Which are how some working mothers help pay for food for their kids, right? These aren't just folks who are just sitting there. They like to paint pictures of people who sit there and don't work and are on aid. These are people who work too, who rely on these programs. And again, that's not even done. There's still pages of cuts. It's scary. We don't know what to do. We will fight. We will be on the front lines to stop it. But we are living in scary times. And those are just the economic cuts. There's constitutional crisis going on. When you are arresting judges, when you are threatening judges, when you are openly going against the court orders, where is our democracy?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
But can you imagine if I, as mayor, were to defy court orders, what that side would be screaming right now at me, right, John? What they would be doing. But here we are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now that I've gone through all of that, is there some other things that we can talk about that might be on the positive side, or are these also impacted? Like some of the emergency services, the 911 plan has been operating for years, but you have a 311. I forget exactly what's covered with that, and maybe people need to get reminded from the first time you mentioned that, unless there's federal funding for that.
Well, it's we will be okay there. Again, we're not going to cut critical services to our residents. We're just not. But what the impact means is your property taxes go up. The more the federal government cuts, and we pay into the federal government. My hope, John, and here's a bright side, because I do have hope that we could stop this. Well, how lucky are we that we have, Governor Lamont, Attorney General Chong's on the front lines, but we have Senator Blumenthal and Senator Murphy fighting for this. So I am hopeful. I'm really hopeful. Congresswoman Hayes has been great as well. She sits on the Aggie Committee, agricultural, because she knew that that's where the food assistance programs come out of. So she's there fighting for that, and I'm excited because I have hope. And hope brings excitement that we can talk to folks, because this isn't just going to impact blue states. Red states and red cities are some of the people who use these programs the most. And once they realize what's going to happen, I do hope that there's going to be a bigger round of pushback against this president, because they're going to be hurting their own communities. So I'm hopeful. And it's just the trampling of rights, due process, worried about due process. And it starts with one community, then it goes into the other. Who are they going to come at next? Is it going to, are they going to start using their dog whistle words, sanctity of marriage? Are they going to come after same-sex couples and tell them who they're allowed to love and not love, who they're allowed to marry, not marry? I will always stand in front of our values and stand up for all our residents. And again, John, that's what gives me hope. That's what keeps me going. And that's what makes me have these 18, 19, 20-hour days advocating, not just as Mayor Danbury, but as chairman of the Democratic Party for the whole state of Connecticut, is fighting for all our people relentlessly, unapologetically, no matter what the other side says. I am on overdrive. I'm on overtime. I have a great team. And I know we're wrapping up soon. So this is important to me.
Yeah.
I don't do this by myself. I have a great team behind me. And I want to thank my chief of staff, Taylor O'Brien. I want to thank my communications advisor, Jason Nova, my new aide, Ed Corey, economic development, Farley Santos, constituent services, Sean Rishadat, our part-time employee here, Jacob Sadi, our front desk coverage, and our firewall, Zoraida Cabrera. Without this team, we wouldn't be able to deliver for Danbury, and then the entire city council who is with us and voted for our budget. I want to thank them as well. And John, thank you for having me on this show to be able to talk about these important issues with our community.
Okay, I want to thank you for all the work you've been doing. It pays off over time. And you got to go through that time, but it'll get better. And as you say, so many red states are affected by this nonsense that's going on that they're going to say, "Hey, you're going to close our hospital if you do that," or people aren't going to have health insurances. They're already talking about millions that are affected. So this is all so they can give tax cuts to billionaires. The billionaires
Right.
they're so poor they need to get tax cuts.
They got to find that other billion, right? No, we got to stand up. We have to stand up before our middle class gets crushed.
Well, anyway, I thank you again for coming on the show, and we've run out of time. And I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. We'll have another show next week, same time, same station. Take care.